India is facing an unprecedented opportunity, an incredibly important window of opportunity right now that I have personally never seen before in my life. And it has come together as almost in a sort of, I would say, in an unusual set of variables that they've created a perfect storm to bring India into a global leadership position on technology companies, if we do it right. So it's on the shoulders of all of you, the young entrepreneurs in India, to take this opportunity and to really do this for not only for the country but also for, I think, for humanity, because we have the scale, we have the volume of engineering talent, of software talent, we have ready, companies that are there in India right now, and we have, an unprecedented corridor between India and Silicon Valley, which has created this, powerhouse network that can accelerate our companies like never before. So, what are those? What are the ingredients of the perfect storm? Number one, because of the pandemic, what has happened is that there is a whole bunch of new opportunities that are going to arise, which will reshape the way we live, the way we work, and the way we learn. So education, health, and work is all going to be redefined in a significantly important way when we come out of the pandemic. And there is nobody better than Indian startups right now, and of course US startups, to take advantage of this unprecedented opportunity. That's factor number one. Factor number two is that for the first time, I think because of the Chinese aggression on the Indian border, massive companies like TikTok, Alibaba, and others which have been on the Indian market are likely to see a reduced presence or perhaps maybe even asked to leave, as is happening in the US, as you saw from the announcement from White House today by Secretary Mike Pompeo about the US asking TikTok to leave. These are unprecedented times in history. There is going to be a void, and there's going to be an opportunity of companies, of spaces, companies that the world needs right now, companies that are transparent and that can commit to data security and protection. People want national data to stay within their country boundaries. And if outside companies cannot offer that kind of a protection, then domestic companies have an unprecedented opportunity. And Indian companies, for the first time, and I'm sure that in Bangalore, Delhi, Gurgaon, Ahmedabad, all these places, all of you entrepreneurs are probably even more familiar than most of us about what are these opportunities going to look like. I can already see a flurry of activity in venture capital, in angel investments, and in pitch presentations from Indian startups about this new set of opportunities. The third thing that I think is an extremely important ingredient on this in this perfect storm is recognition by US venture capital that India is a massive untapped market and everybody wants in on India right now. So as you can see, just today I saw an article in the Washington Post about new venture capital funds, new venture capital money flowing into fintech startups in unprecedented historic manner into US, UK, and Indian startups. In this hierarchy, China used to be on the top. Unfortunately, it has fallen to the 5th place now. And for me, all startups are equal, by the way. It's just that if your national environment has to support free and open and equitable fair trade for its startups. And I think India is providing that, and as that's being recognized by US venture capital as it starts exploring even more seriously what's happening in India right now. India is, of course, an untapped market. 1.3 billion people getting massive access to the internet on high-speed internet, and companies like Jio providing connectivity like never before. And Indian government for especially in the recent years, especially in the Modi government, actually has been extremely startup friendly. And Indian government itself has been really active in partnering with the private sector in providing unprecedented opportunities for Indian startups to hit the ground running and to become truly global. One thing that I want to stress, urgently to startup entrepreneurs who are looking at starting out, creating companies now, is that it's important to think about a global footprint from the get-go. Yes, it's okay to have Indian market as the initial market that you plan for. That's fine. And I think the next market that you graduate into could even be local Asian market. You could be selling to Vietnam, South Korea, Indonesia, which are huge markets. But as you plan your product and as you plan your global footprint, you must plan in such a way that that from the get-go you are an attractive global company for even for consumers in the West, in Europe, and in the US. For me, what is really exciting as a venture capitalist is that the Indian market is mature and ripe for the first time. It is in the first time in history we have seen companies that are very global from the get-go, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that existing mature companies like Paytm and Oyo and a whole bunch of companies that have been recently, Myntra and all of them that have been funded or that have gone global, they've all figured out a way in which to be global from the get-go. And so as those founders keep investing as angels in the Indian ecosystem, I think, we are not new to this game anymore. India is for the first time hitting the ground running as this new geopolitics shapes the startup environment. So remember that this is not just about the pandemic. This is about an unprecedented geopolitical environment also, where strategy is defined by data as the new oil. Remember, data is what everybody is gunning for right now. And with our 1.3 billion Indian consumers, we are going to be sitting on a gold mine if we do this right. And it's crucial that Indian private sector partners with the government, and the government recognizes that most of the times the most valuable partnership that the government can provide for Indian startups is to really even kind of to set them free. Indian startups really know what they're doing. Most of us, frankly, are not needed. The best we can do is get out of the way. So I think all of us who are investing or in the policy-making business, we must step back and let startups take the lead on where they need to go. So that's my advice. I think this is the time when those who have been sitting in the woodworks thinking, ek din startup kar lenge. Startup karshu ek divas, let's see what we can do. Those of you who are sitting in the woodworks, this is the time. This is the time to take that risk and say, what can I do right now? What market can I tap into right now? Now, for example, the first low-hanging fruit for us in Indian startup world is the 59 apps that the Indian government has asked to leave. And I think that's a massive, unprecedented opportunity for Indian startups. And I am convinced actually that a lot of people in the Indian tech centers, tech hubs, are already thinking about it. And this is an exciting time for venture capital, for angels, and for startups.